it's an injury reporting semantics. He'll be fine. It's an elbow, but he got bumped in the elbow.
Which Michael?
DB Michael.
Oh.
Michael Carter, sorry.
Question?
Robert, with Brees, obviously fully, so he's good to go. And so what's your mindset in terms of usage and how he hasn't been hit yet on that knee, so there's always that concern. So what is your level of apprehension going in?
We have a plan. I'm not gonna talk about it here, but there's going to be a constant communication because what the plan is can be more, can be less, and but we have an idea of what we want to get done. He has an idea of what he'd like to accomplish, but at the same time, communication, constantly checking in to see where he's at, both physically and mentally, is going to be key.
You've been around running back rotations with San Francisco in your career, but I don't think any of those guys had been like the alpha guy like Dalvin Cook, and Brees had obviously been last year in college. Does that change it when you have two guys who are used to being the guy versus guys who are maybe used to being in timeshares?
Yeah, I would imagine the competitive edge is, where they're going to feel like they're the hot hand, they want to roll, but. I kind of like where the mindset is of the group, like just talking to Dalvin and, you ask him and I feel like it's sincere. He's like, how many touches you want? Whatever we need to do to win the game, and that's the response. They just want to win football games and help where they can. And, I think it's been a very selfless, it looks like a very selfless group so far.
How much of a luxury is it to have someone like Dalvin as your 1A, whatever you want to call it? I mean, he's been a productive back here for a long time.
Yeah, he's glad we got him. He is a special person. He's got a special mindset to him, and obviously we know about the football players. So really excited to see him on game day.
We all saw on Hard Knocks where Sauce was after the Giants game was like, why are they challenging me against Jalen Hyatt? And you said basically until you start pulling more down, then they'll stop challenging you. I don't know if every player would react well to that. Why did you know you could say that to him, and how did he react to like the challenge to get more interceptions after what was a great year?
Yeah, that's why he's special, is that he always knows there's more. There's an envelope to continue pushing. There's a line to build. There's no ceiling. And, the great ones want to be coached. The great ones want to be challenged. The great ones want to know what their flaws are and what people are seeing on tape so they can fix it and get better. And he's one of those. And, there are things that he's going to ask why, and our job is to give him an answer. And but I love his mindset, and I hope teams keep throwing it his way because the ball either ends up on the ground or I think this year it'll end up in his hands.
Jeff Albert talked about yesterday about seeing Quinnen being at another higher level this offseason, despite him, getting the money that he received. Just talk about what you've seen from him that makes you think he could have another spectacular year.
Yeah, he's. I've seen no change in the sense of he's still his bubbly personality, team first, practices his absolute tail off. Very deliberate in everything he does. I do think he's probably picked up a notch in terms of conditioning and how. I think yesterday was kind of a tough practice for the group, being it was so hot and he just didn't look like he was breaking a sweat. So he's in a good mental headspace and definitely. And we knew this before we did, but he's always those guys are the ones you want to pay because the old saying, money only makes you more of what you already are. And if anything, it's even made him more of a leader, more of a competitor, more of all the good things that he is.
So how does he improve, like as far as the leadership aspect?
Just being vocal. I always look at whether or not the model of servant leadership. Are you making people around you better? And it's one thing that talk the talk. It's another thing to actually walk it. And he's constantly helping his teammates. He's constantly challenging his teammates, but he's also doing what he's saying. And so anytime you've got that, and being confident now in his whatever year this is for him, this is year 4, I believe, just to have the confidence to be able to speak up, and he's earned the respect of his teammates where they do listen. So it just. Part of that confidence, just the projection of his voice and the volume of it, he's got a lot better.
Do you anticipate having Boyle as your third quarterback?
We'll see over the next 48 hours. what are you doing here?
That's a good question.
Usually you don't show up on
It's week one. It's open.
usually on a Friday.
But
What's Saturday?
Actually, it's a nose type question. The Bills showed a lot more two tight end in the preseason that they ever used last year. I guess maybe because of they drafted Kincaid. So how do they use him? And do you anticipate them doing a lot of that in the regular season?
We'll see. There's always going to be unscouted looks early in the season. We have an idea of what they've done in the past. You try to, you try to look at the preseason. Teams usually don't. We ran things on defense that we probably won't run in the regular season, just to try some stuff out. So you never know. But at the same time, it's more. We've got a base set of rules, and there's going to be a lot of things that they do that are going to be new that we haven't seen before. And there's going to be things that we've done that we're going to do, both offensively and defense, that they've never seen before. So it's just a matter of sticking to your rules, sticking to your guns, and just playing the best you can.
Robert, you said you haven't had a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, of course, and you know what he does for your offense. But what does he do for the defense in terms of you already work great defense, but can you take more chances, or are there things different because you might be playing with leads this year as opposed to the first 2 years?
You don't change your game plan based on the offense in terms of there's a balance. You don't want to be reckless, but if everything works out the way we're hoping that it draws up, and you're playing with leads, and then it just means that this defensive line that we're really excited about gets more opportunities to rush the passer, and we feel like that's what they're built for first, and we have a wave of guys that can all go in there and affect the quarterback, and so you get those ops, but as far as playing defense and playing to our philosophy and our style, it's to get the ball back for the offense as many times as possible, however possible, and that never changes.
So what's been Mekhi Becton's mindset heading into this game? Obviously, this will be his first game in a couple of years, really.
Yeah, probably more of a question for him to see how he answers it. But he's been good. He's been working, and I'm excited for him. He's gonna have some mistakes. It is what it is. He hasn't played football in 2 years, but he's worked hard to get to this point.
You talked about your team kind of facing that phenomenon where because you have so much attention, people are looking for you to fail. And on an individual level, it feels like Sauce has kind of gotten some of that. What would your advice be to him for handling that and moving forward as the season goes on, where people are kind of looking for him maybe to not be what he showed last year?
Talking about haters?
Yeah. I didn't want to sound like
No, it is like, but that's the thing, right? And I've said it, and it's when you're successful, people, it's human nature. Some people just are green with envy, and they want to see you fail. That just comes with it. But just ignore the noise and focus on what you've got control over. That's when you walk in this building and when you're outside this building, whatever it is, you just focus on the things that you've got control over, and there's always going to be people who just relish in your failure. That's just the way life is. But there's also a lot of people who are going to be very happy for you when you do have success, and those are the ones that matter. And but for all these guys in the locker room, for everyone in this organization, ignore the noise. The same people that'll cheer you on are the same people that will boo you. So just trust in yourself, trust in your teammates, trust in your family, and everything else will take care of itself.
Robert, with Cook, when you guys were talking before he signed, was part of that, I would imagine, part of the conversation was how you guys might use him. And the fact that he was comfortable, a guy with his resume that has done only to kind of come in and maybe not get the 25 carries, did that make you guys more comfortable about, okay, we can bring this guy in and he'll be fine with that role?
Yeah. Well, now that he's here, I'll just say it. Like when he was here on that first visit and we had a chance to meet with him, I feel like we put on a worst case scenario. And when he left, I was like, "There's no way after those he's going to want to play here," and he still wanted to be here, and because it was laid out exactly. I was like, "Why would he want to be here with the way we explained it?" And but he is all in. He's and it gives us faith that he's all in on this process, and he's ready to do anything that we need to do to win football games, whether it's 25 carries, whether it's 1 carry, whatever it is. He's ready to roll. Same thing with Brees, same thing with Michael, Izzy. We got a really cool group of guys that are very selfless. They just love this game and they want to win. And I think they're enjoying this whole thing so far.
What was that worst case scenario? Could you share that?
That he's just standing on the sideline, never seen the field, because Brees is so hot, or Michael's hot, or the pass game's hot. Just something's good where someone's hot and we're rolling with a hot hand. But not saying that will happen. It's worst case scenario. But to his credit, he's like, Coach, I just want to win. And so when he left and still showed, and their team still showed interest, it was like, well, absolutely bring him in. He's only going to help us. And since he's walked in here, I mean, his speed, burst, smarts, his tutelage, his experience bringing to that running back room, he's been fantastic.
Last one.
Week 1 high school football team.
Yeah, so we're recognizing Will Nahan. He's from Randolph High School. He's our coach of the week. Led his team to a 27-point comeback in their home opener. Biggest comeback they've had in a while. Hopefully not too many, Coach, not too many. But he spent the last 9 seasons at Randolph, 6 as the head coach. Want to wish the Rams good luck for the rest of the season. Keep kicking butt.
Thanks, everybody. See you outside.
Thanks, guys.